Jim, which of these two movies do you prefer?
The Lost World, for sure. How about you?
Yeah, I do too. It's not a perfect movie, but I can at least see a lot of things in it that are done really well, and I just don't think Godzilla has that, other than the Philippe Roche character really is the not the lone bright spot, but the one part that really stands out. And The Lost World has a few of those things, because it has an awesome character, and it has several really good sequences, and the effects are better. And it's
genuinely funny sometimes as well.
A little bit too much, like, sarcastic responses to things. Mm-hmm. I understand it's in Ian Malcolm's character, but there's just a little bit too much like where he takes the line down from the hide, and you can hear he like hits the ground hard, and it's like Richard Schiff's like, oh, I would have squeezed a little or something. Like a few too many moments like that. The Vince Vaughn, I feel like, has a lot of those.
Well, even there's like a line when Richard Schiff throws him the rope, he goes, "Can I get you anything?" And
that's the worst
like,
one.
Yeah, could I get a Big Mac and fries or whatever? Or a quarter pounder and fries and a milkshake.
Those are the last words spoken to Richard Schiff, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
The last thing he heard people say to him was they're making fun of him as he's trying to save their life.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like, oh, fuck off, dude.
Yeah. And then Godzilla has a lot of that, but that's just because every character is a wacky, goofy character. But yeah, so how do you think this stacks up as a drive-in double feature?
I think it works really well. Don't get me wrong about my dislike for Godzilla, but I think it works really well, especially in the way that we have it set up, where you get Jurassic Park first, Godzilla second. You have more serious...
You have Godzilla at the end of the first one, and then you have Godzilla from the beginning of the next one, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is perfect. But also, you get like real movie where people are the monsters as well as these dinosaurs, and then you have ridiculous over-the-top monster movie.
I understand what you mean, but Godzilla, the people are also the monsters in Godzilla. Matthew Broderick has blood on his hands.
Listen, I wasn't going to bring that up again, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. It's it does work well, and I don't even want to say it works surprisingly well, because what you do have at the end of the day is two movies that revolve around giant man-eating lizards.
Yeah, so, and I think as a double feature, too, I think you do see that, quite frankly, you see a drop-off from the first Jurassic Park to the second one. I mean, I understand we didn't watch the first one for this, but you see, movies are getting dumber. Big blockbuster movies are getting dumber, but you still see all these things in The Lost World that are like, yeah, this is made by a good filmmaker. This is made by Steven Spielberg. And then the second movie, you have someone imitating Spielberg, trying to use a similar score at times that never really feels like it's hitting the right emotions, and then trying to do these shots of wonder. They actually did something in, you have the famous dolly zoom shot, which I'll always think of Jaws, because Jaws is a movie that I watched a bunch as a kid, but that's that scene when Sheriff Brody realizes that the kid's being eaten in the water. They do that shot where they zoom in on the camera while dollying the camera away from him, so there's the weird effect of it looks like he's coming to and also going away from the camera. It's done perfectly in Jaws. They do it a lot in Vertigo. Vertigo, I think, is maybe where that's invented, so I've seen that referred to as the Vertigo shot. Roland Emmerich does it in Godzilla, and I think he does it I don't think I had it in my notes, but I know he does it at the wrong time. Whenever he does it, I did notice this. They had a shot where I'm like, oh, they're going to do a Vertigo shot, and they didn't. And I'm like, oh, that was weird. I would have thought it would have been a good time for that. And then there was like another moment where I thought the same thing, and then they do it like a half hour later, and it's like, oh, this should have. He did it wrong. He screwed it up.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, too. I mean, it really is like comparing, even Jurassic Park 2, it is like comparing a finer cut of steak to a fucking hamburger that somebody's mushed together and put in a pan.
Yeah, you got some ketchup on Godzilla.
Yeah. But, and again, like, I think tonally, when The Lost World shifts to that goofier style by the end, when you have the T-Rex running around San Diego, that is the perfect lead-in to Godzilla. Because that's exactly what Godzilla is on a small scale, right?
Right.
And while The Lost World may not be the nicest cut of steak you could get, it is still roast. Better and a little more palatable than Godzilla.
It's a not great cut of meat, but it's cooked the right way. It's cooked perfectly. Spielberg had it in for the right amount of time. It's cooked evenly. There's just there's that pink in the middle. It's not
Whereas
then Godzilla is just
burnt on
to a
one
crisp.
end and and it's raw on the other. But
he cooked it in the microwave.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, if somebody brought me that steak and they had cooked it, I wouldn't say no. You know what I mean?
I would say sure, but let me put a lot of sauce on this. Let me put a lot of hot sauce or something. Pepper salt sauce.
I mean, fuck, I haven't even thought about that for years.
That's an inside joke, folks. I know it's pronounced peppercorn. I know, but we don't have to explain that.
Yeah, well, you know what? And the pepper salt sauce in Godzilla is Jean Reno.
Yeah, he spices it up. He makes it a little more interesting, a little more palatable. Yeah, that's a fair point. A good analogy. I like that.
We got there together, Patrick.
Sure.